So it's been about 2 months since the Galaxy Z Fold 7 came out, and between the wider cover display, the slim form factor, the 200 megapixel camera, this is by far the biggest jump in improvement that we've ever seen on a Galaxy foldable device. But even with all of these improvements, I still find myself reaching for the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Why? Let's talk about it. The first reason that I prefer the Galaxy S25 Ultra is the build and materials. The Fold 7 with its new armor aluminum frame, a thicker glass on the display, and a better hinge is still no match for the titanium frame of the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Plus, the Fold 7 has moving parts, and that hinge, no matter how well engineered, is always going to be a point of vulnerability. And I've seen far too many videos of people online whose fold phones and flip phones after a couple of years start developing hinge and crease issues. And sure, the Fold 7 might have addressed and fixed all of these issues. For all I know, we will never have another crease or hinge issue in the future. We just don't know because we haven't had the phone long enough, so we can't say whether or not this is still going to be a problem. But what I do know is that this phone still only has IP48 dust and water resistance. And with a foldable phone and a hinge and a crease, that's definitely a problem. And that problem bothers me because anytime I'm at the beach or I'm doing woodworking in my garage, just kidding, I'm not manly enough to do any woodworking, but if I did, I would be very nervous about having this phone around because any small particles like sawdust or sand from the beach, if it gets into this hinge, your phone is going to be completely ruined. And I just feel like I have to baby this thing a lot more. Whereas with the Galaxy S25 Ultra, I literally do not worry about this whatsoever. I've dropped it out of a canoe, I've used it as an accessory to build sandcastles, I use it as a ruler, I use it as a coaster, and I just know at the end of the day, no matter what I do to this phone, it's going to be completely fine. And that is a good feeling. Alright, now let's talk battery and charging speeds. And this is something that I've criticized Galaxy phones for many years. Neither of these phones are exceptionally good at it, but the Galaxy S25 Ultra is slower charging and has a smaller battery than the already slow charging and kind of, I guess, medium battery by today's standards. So it's worse in every way. Now, before I get all YouTube tech guy on you, is the battery on the Galaxy Z Fold 7 enough for most people to get through the day? Yes, most of the time you're probably going to be okay. And if you charge your phone when you go to sleep and you wake up at night and you go back to work and that's your routine, the charging speeds are not going to bother you either because you have all night to charge the phone. But let's say in the unlikely case that you accidentally forget to plug your phone in to charge overnight, which, let's be honest, has happened to all of us at some point, and you wake up and your Galaxy Z Fold 7 is only at 10% and you maybe have 20 or 30 minutes before you got to get out the door to go to work. It's only got 25-watt wired charging, and in that 30 minutes of charging before you run out the door, you're only going to get this phone to around 40 to 50% battery, and there's no chance that you're going to make it through the rest of the day on that one charge. Now, the Galaxy S25 Ultra isn't much better. I do criticize this phone for its slow charging as well, but at 45-watt charging, in that same 30 minutes of charging, the Galaxy S25 Ultra will get up to around 70 to 80% battery, which could definitely be enough to get you through the rest of the day. Both phones support up to 15-watt wireless charging, and they do both have reverse wireless charging capabilities, so you can put another device on the back of your Galaxy phone to charge it. But at only 4,400 milliamp battery on the Fold 7, I feel like reverse wireless charging is more of a necessity rather than a convenience, because what's the point of charging your earbuds if your phone is just going to run out of battery in exchange? Alright, the third reason is the one that's most important to me personally, and it is the cameras, because the camera system on the S25 Ultra is all around just better than what we get on the Fold 7. Now, don't get me wrong, I know the Fold 7 got a huge upgrade with that 200 megapixel main camera, but the problem is the other lenses didn't get an upgrade. They're still the same lenses as we had on the Fold 6, and this was definitely the biggest issue on the Fold for me. I find myself very frustrated that I feel constrained to having to use the 200 megapixel main lens in order to get the best photo quality, because if I want to take an ultra wide photo or zoom into something, and especially if it's in low light conditions, the camera definitely starts to show its weakness. The ultra wide lens on here is only 12 megapixels compared to 50 on the S25 Ultra, and the low light capabilities are just not as strong. Even with the improved Pro Visual Engine, you still get a good amount of noise and softness in the photos, and the S25 Ultra is just noticeably better. The zoom lenses on the Fold are also less capable. You get a 3x optical zoom with a max digital zoom of 30x, and once you start zooming past that 3x and get to the 5, 10, 15, 30x on the Fold, you can see that the Fold just can't keep up with the capabilities of the camera on the S25 Ultra. And I don't think people pay enough respect for a good zoom on their camera, even though they love to have it. Every time I go to any of my kids' like events or shows, or I go to a concert, all I see people doing is just zooming as close as they possibly can to whatever it is that they're trying to take a photo or video of. So even though a lot of people don't talk about it or even realize it themselves, zooming is a very important capability, and having good image quality while zoomed in is very important. And the Galaxy S25 Ultra is undefeated in this department. It's known as the phone with hella zoom. The main thing for me is that I, like many people out there, use the camera that I have in my pocket on my phone as my main camera. I don't walk around with a DSLR camera taking beautiful photos. I just take out the phone that I have currently in my pocket, and that is my main camera to capture all of my life's moments. So the camera system on the phone as a whole is very important for me. If I want to zoom in, if I want to take photos in low light, if I want to use the ultra wide camera, I want all of the lenses to be as good as possible. And the Galaxy S25 Ultra for me is irreplaceable in that category. Alright, the fourth feature might not seem like a big issue, but this one is absolutely a game changer, and I blame Samsung for ruining every other phone for me that doesn't have this, but it is the anti-reflective display that we have on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. I literally can't look at any other display, and the Fold 7 with this big inner display, no matter how bright you can push it, even at the same 2600 nits as the Galaxy S25 Ultra, it is like a mirror on a bright day. And if you haven't used a phone with this anti-reflective display, don't do it, because it's literally going to ruin every other phone for you. And lastly, the S Pen. I absolutely love the S Pen. Now, I know in my 1 month review of the Fold, I mentioned that I don't need the S Pen and I can live without it. And the truth is, if I had to use the Fold 7, I could live without it. I would rather have a slimmer form factor than the S Pen. But the truth is, I don't have to use the Fold 7. I can use the Galaxy S25 Ultra, which has everything I need, including the S Pen. It's not something you might need all the time, but when you do need it, it becomes just such a value add, and it just conveniently sits inside the phone, not taking up any extra space, and it's just always there waiting for you whenever you need it. Alright, so to wrap things up, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is incredible. It's fun, it's capable, it's undeniably the best, most complete foldable Samsung has ever made. But it's just made for people with a specific need. If you need that larger inner display for multitasking and you're just a power user and you're constantly signing documents or reading books, the Fold is the perfect phone for you. But for me and the needs of most people out there, the Galaxy S25 Ultra is just more practical. And not to mention, it's also $700 cheaper than the Fold 7. So while I love the Fold 7, and if you're in the market for a foldable phone and you know this is something you will use, I would absolutely recommend the Fold 7 to you over any other foldable on the market. But let me know in the comments below, are you a foldable kind of person or are you more of a slab style user? But that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.